Greetings, Dapperlings, and welcome to a new First Taste for the channel where we're going to be checking out Loop Hero. Now, before we get down to business, I do want to send out a massive thank you to Devolver Digital for affording me the opportunity to check this out in early access before its release. I've had this now for a couple of days, and it's allowed me to play a couple of hours into the game to get my bearings. Obviously, as a result, you know, I do need you to understand that my opinion of the game, whilst I truly hope it remains unbiased and my enthusiasm is genuinely earned by the game just being bloody awesome, I was given a key for this game, so I didn't need to buy it. Now, with those legalities out of the way, what is Loop Hero? Well, honestly, the closest similar game that I could pick out for it is probably Hand of Fate. It's a bit of a deck builder, a bit of a build-your-own adventure in a way. Highly procedural, got a lot of roguelite elements. That is to say, there is sort of permadeath, but there's kind of like meta progression between each death. You do static runs, and then when the run is over, you retreat. You've got a little bit of progress or a lot of progress, depending on how the run ended, whether you died or whether you chose to retreat to your sanctuary and bring loot back with you, so on and so forth. And through successive playthroughs of the game, you get stronger, you unlock new cards. There is a deck builder element to it that allow you to make for more varied and more expansive adventures with each successive run. There is an overarching goal, of course, and that is to, as with most games, save the world or save yourself, perhaps a little bit of both in many ways. But it is always easier to show rather than to describe. So we're going to be jumping into the game, but before we do, let me just give one more massive shout out, and this one to Four Quarters, the developer for dyslexia-friendly fonts. I, as well as many other dyslexic people, offer you a sincere and heartfelt thank you. It does make such an enormous difference. It is probably almost an imperceptible difference to someone without dyslexia, but this really, really does help. So massive kudos for that. But with that, let's go ahead and select a new slot. A few hours, I say 6. Look, okay, when a game is good, a game is good. It's just the way it goes. But we're not going to be skipping the tutorial. We're going to just jump straight in and see how it goes. We'll get a little bit of the story here as well. The stars in the sky are going out, one by one. But no one notices. No one can stop it. I'm racing to the last place where there is still hope. I need to make it before it's too late. That effect looks amazing to them. I love the art style in this. I'm massively partial to pixel art. I don't know why. It makes me feel happy. Sounds of agony will quickly fade as I talk about being happy over the pixel art. The world will be destroyed. Even the memory of it will be gone. And even if there is absolutely no chance of bringing it all back, there will always be someone who is willing to do the impossible. In a place without space, without time, without memories. Where am I? I can't see anything but this part. My head is killing me. I remember only a skeleton with a staff in the sky. This darkness was coming from him. Did he destroy everything around here? Just standing here won't do me any good, I guess. No, it won't. Okay, to change between adventure, traveling through the map, and planning, which is basically pause, press the switch, right-click or space. You can more or less play this game entirely from the mouse, by the way, which is actually always nice. It probably means that it's going to be very comfortable with controller. If there is indeed controller support, I haven't actually looked into that, but generally, if you can play a game entirely just with the mouse, you can almost always play it very comfortably with the controller. Continue your journey by changing game mode. There we go, we're now in adventure mode. I hope I'll be able to find some shelter before nightfall. If such a thing as night still even exists without a sky, of course. It doesn't, but, you know, we'll go along with that. It's more the sun and the rotation of the Earth, really, that defines the night, but, well, yeah, it's semantics. Pay attention to the day progress bar at the top of the screen, this right here. New enemies usually appear at the end of the day. Also, many different effects can trigger the day change. Continue your journey by changing game modes. A living ball of slime. Quite a nuisance. They digest anything they can. Hey, I remember this creature. Maybe I just need to freshen up my memory and everything will go back to normal. And that is a key of the whole game. Everything about this game is kind of tied into memory, and that's why I said there's such a strong kind of... They play not very much alike. There are certain similarities between this and Hand of Fate, but it's more the kind of feel and the idea of how the in-game world of how Hand of Fate works and how this works, and it's so much tied to memories of the protagonist. Traveling, fighting, and most other actions are done automatically. The player can't affect them directly, so it's an auto-battler, in a sense. Press anywhere to continue. Bear in mind that time does still progress whilst in a fight. We do have a lot of RPG elements as well. It's hard to fight with your bare hands. I think there's a weapon in the remains of this thing that's not fully digested. You have an inventory and an item slot. You know what to do. Thank you, game. We do. So we're going to equip the sword. I think I remember that there was a grove nearby. Are these even my memories? Or do they belong to that slime? You can use cards that are left after defeating enemies to add various new objects to the map. That's what planning mode is for. And this is where the kind of deck builder element comes in. The cards that are in our deck can appear and we can start building the world. Though it isn't strictly just our deck. There's a lot of synergies in this game, which honestly, that's the part that playing the game you just uncover. Usually by accident, and then you slowly refine the process. The grove, a gentle rustle of leaves, a crack of a dry branch, and a feeling of being watched. This will spawn a rat wolf every 2 days. The wolf can move to an adjacent tile. Let's continue our journey. Oh, it evaded. You can hover over it, and it's very nice. You see a little hourglass at the top there. If you hover over anything, and these are changeable in the settings, you can disable the pause, but I've got the pause active. I like it that I can just hover over things, and I'll just pause for a moment, so I can fully read through things. So this is living. It has a soul. It has 16 max HP. Damage is 3.42, and attacks per second is 0.75. And it is now dead. Forest rat wolf. I was right. Some emotional stress, a few colourful images, and a bit of adrenaline, and everything will be forgotten like a bad dream. Or remembered as a bad... Damn. It's good that nobody is listening. Okay. You can get new items and cards during battles, as you've probably already noticed. Some items have unique abilities, as do most of the cards. By hovering over an item or card, you can inspect its properties, equip a new weapon, and place a new card on the map to continue. So we've got a new sword. It is same damage, but a flat upgrade in terms of vampirism. That gives us a new stat down there. Also, a forest. A thick forest. Nobody knows who or what could be lurking inside. Makes you a bit nervous. Plus 1% hero attack speed. Okay, nice. I can place this anywhere. I'll pop it. Oh, wow. We just picked up a chonky bit of resources there. You can get new items and cards during battle. Oh, sorry, we've already read that part. We need to put down the rock, though. So this one, just by placing it, we got stable wood. Sure, okay, we'll place the rock. I guess we'll pop the rock over there. Great. So there was a mountain over there, and here is forest. The world is just like new. The branches and stones in my backpack are a sure sign of that. So we got a stable stone out of the rock we just placed. Plus 2 HP, plus 2 more HP for every adjacent rock or mountain. Its magnificent appearance gives you strength. Some of your actions will yield resources that you will need later on, but not right now. But that shouldn't stop you from looking at them right now. Continue your journey by changing game mode, etc., etc. This right there is a boss meter that doesn't seem to be active during the tutorial, thankfully. I think it's time to get some rest. The game itself is a journey on a looped path. Only you will decide when it's time for the hero to return to the camp. Either you, or the fangs and claws of your enemies, of course. You can retreat almost any time, but a special animation will let you know when it's safe to do so. Retreat to the camp by pressing the button. Now, right now, we will keep 100% of our resources, because we're near the camp, so we can retreat freely. Anywhere on the path that's far away from the camp, you'll lose 30%. Well, 40% of your resources. You'll keep 60%. But should you die, you'll only keep 30%, so you'll lose 70% of resources if you perish, but you will keep some of your resources, so there's always meta progression. The thought of leaving the battlefield and going back to your cozy camp has passed through your mind. What a timely idea. The camp is just around the corner. Retreat. It's cold and dark here. A small fire can solve both of these problems. Nice place to set up a camp. This is when all resources you gathered will come in handy. Who would have thought? You have just enough wood and stones to make a campfire. What a nice coinkydink. Build a campfire using the building function in the camp. Very well. We will build a campfire. A cozy campfire, warm and cozy. The monsters keep away from it, so it's a nice spot to have some rest between your travels. It's also the center of your camp and the starting point of your adventure. The hero restores 20% of his max HP upon entering the campfire tile. And that was the tile with the tents on the loop. That is literally our campfire. So yes, let's go ahead and place this down. Padonk. Congratulations, you've beaten this annoying tutorial. It wasn't that annoying, I actually kind of liked it. You can now start your first expedition. Or not. Do as you wish. Click anywhere to complete the tutorial. Well, you know, a little bit of passive aggression never did anyone any harm, I suppose. But now we can really see all of the things we can make, and so many of them to different things. It is going to be incredibly important for us to explore these. We can't see anything about them until we've unlocked the prerequisites required to reach them. Then we can see what will be required to build them. Now, what we've got here is we've got stable stone, stable wood, food rations, the field kitchen. A very important place for any camp. If your nose isn't lying, there is good food here. Plus 10% of the campfire's healing power. That is an important one. It'll also unlock a new card called the Blood Grove. The Herbalist's Hut. The hands of the herbalist always remember how to mix up dried herbs and brew healing potions. Potions heal 4% of max HP, and you can take up to 3 potions with you. 2 potions are refilled at the camp, so that's every time you make a full rotation around the loop. And it also unlocks the swamp card. And the smithy. Lets you start an expedition with basic warrior gear. Unlocks the ability to craft tools for the camp if the supply depot is built. That leads to the smelter, the farm, and the refuge. I would say getting to the refuge is absolutely top priority. The farm is also quite decent, but probably the refuge is the higher priority of the two, in my opinion. Well, more or less. There are different playstyles may have different setups, but right now we don't have any deck to speak of. We are just the basic selves. This path, everything is wrong, but I remember. It looks like a completely different place, and it's empty again. Do my actions have any meaning at all? Yes, they do. Like I have a choice. If I need to give up and cry to save the world, I'm the worst savior of all. Let's do it. Right, I'm going to pause it there. This is the essence of the game. Each round, you'll get a new path. I don't know if later on certain buildings and unlocks change the nature of the path, its length, so on and so forth. Sometimes you'll have long paths, sometimes you'll have shorter ones. The shape will almost always be different, and you'll always start with a fresh path itself. Now, each of these tiles is a wasteland. There's absolutely nothing here, well, except slime. There's a 5% chance of spawning slime once a day. Our equipment is always reset, though, as you saw with the smithy, you can get certain things that'll make it a little bit better. Ring, regeneration 0.6 per second. I think I will take this. Also, a meadow. Earth covered with a thick carpet of grass. Nothing really interesting, unless you're a cow, of course. Heals 2 HP at the start of each day. That sounds like a pretty nice bargain. Frankly, I will accept. I'll pop it away. There we go. And that has given us a little bit of resources. A ration, a small amount of food. Surprisingly, it can still satisfy one's hunger. These things are a real luxury now. If we get 12 of them, they will form a whole food supply. And that's an important thing. The resources, typically, you get tiny drips and drabs, scraps of resources, but once you've got enough, they make a larger resource. And typically, building requires those larger, more stable resources, not the scraps. So do bear that in mind. There we go. If we hover over the slime, slime's damage is 3.13, maximum health is 13, attacks per second is 0.6. It's an artificial life, and it's also a liquid. the time is ticking over, so we've just got a little bit of healing there. But additionally, we've got the round enemy level. Loop counter affects enemies level and affects the level of equipment you get every time you go around the loop without resting, without returning to your camp, which resets the loop. You increase that counter, enemies get stronger, the equipment they drop gets better. We've got a shield, defense +4. I think I will has it, yes. On the topic of options, though, we do have a bunch of different things. I've turned off the CRT shader, but for those who like that sort of thing, you can do that. Automatically pause at the end of the loop. Automatically pause after a battle. Battles pause when hovering over units, and battles pause when hovering over items. You don't really need these. You can have them, though. Of them, I think automatically pausing at the end of the loop is the most useful, because if you're a little bit distracted, you might miss your opportunity to retreat. But there is a little bit of a grace window with that. You don't literally need to be stood on the camp tile to be able to retreat safely. Automatically pausing after battles just gives you a bit of time to equip equipment, but again, you can just right-click whenever you want to enter planning mode. Now, a beacon. A worthless landmark in a world with no direction. Plus 40% movement speed, though, within its range, and plus 20% attack speed to all units. Now, I could go ahead and place this down somewhere like that, and we'd get a lot of tiles covered by its effects. Likewise, you could do something like that down here. Pop it there. That's actually quite decent. But I'm thinking that would be a better one. We'll get a lot more out of that. Now, most things have some sort of reaction to proximity to other buildings. Not all other buildings. There's usually a specific kind of setup, but it's always interesting to just experiment and find out. You've got mountains down there, a vampire mansion as well. Got some new armor. You can equip while in the middle of combat. So this will give us a bit of extra HP, and if I hover over it, it'll pause. It's not just in the combat screen, but you can equip in the middle of battle, which is actually kind of nice. Right, now we've got a mountain. It's like a rock, but really big. Plus 5 HP for each adjacent rock or mountain. It has no benefit by itself. It has to be adjacent to something. We've got a vampire mansion. Hungry eyes follow your every move through the holes in the roof. Adds vampires to battles in adjacent tiles, and another beacon. The other beacon might not be terrible. We'll pop that one down by there. Get a little bit of stuff going. Now the vampire mansion we can place anywhere, in the surrounding tiles it was describing will be these blue areas. Now you might be wondering, why on earth would you want to add vampires to any fight? Well, the more things you fight, the more loot you get, basically. And later on it becomes increasingly more important. Indeed, there are quite a few buildings that can have a synergy with the vampire mansion. But we'll leave those to be discovered in a little bit. Back off, human. A vampire? Where are your lands? If your farmers need help, I would be glad to offer it. No more lands. No more flock. Only hundreds of years of emptiness. And 100 years of hunger. Save yourself while you still can. I don't know how long I will be able to keep my head straight. What hundreds of years are you talking about? Oh, mind is easy to trick, but you can't trick my hunger. It demands its share. Every sip, every drop of blood will go to satiate it. I'm too weak, but you can help me, and I will set this crumbled world right. Right. I'm doing this not for just myself, but for everyone. In the name of good. So be grateful for my hard work and just let me bleed you dry. That was actually really hard to figure out who was talking. I guess it actually does highlight it, but I wasn't paying attention to that initially. But quite often when you encounter a new unit, it will usually have something to say. Vampires have, obviously, vampirism. But interestingly now, this does a couple of other things. We've got a couple of effects here. The glow of a beacon increases all creatures' attack speed, not just mine. But the vampire aura. All enemies that are not objects or artificial gain the vampirism effect at 10%. The vampire obviously has a much higher vampirism. They're also evading reasonably well. Now, a faster clock... I mean, given that everyone's just accelerated, you might be thinking, well, what's the difference? Everyone is equally sped up. But it does mean that the fights happen faster within the day-night cycle, which does matter. Vampires often owned our lands. They kept the peace and helped the settlements to prosper. But this won't do at all. Now they're just pale shadows of their former selves, both physically and mentally. Apparently the blood of other creatures can't sustain them. He wasn't joking about the hunger. Even the creatures that stand near him are imbued with the power to devour someone else's life. Well, we've got a rapier. That's a flat upgrade because we've got no weapon. So magic damage to +2, +4% attack speed, and +4% vampirism. Very, very nice indeed. A lot of stats there now. There we go. And a couple new items. Is this better? No, it's not. Evasion. Better than regen? Actually, yes. I'd rather have a almost 10% chance to evade attacks than to have a static regen. The shield. Ooh. Add more to vampirism. That might not be terrible. That said, though, the regen on the shield I don't mind. Right. Let's pause that there. Got a cemetery, another vampire mansion. I don't think we need two of them right next to each other, thank you. But now we've got two mountains. We can go ahead and place them both down, and they will interact with each other. We'll get resources either way, but I wanted to get the 5 HP buff from that. Cemetery, a place for the dead and for some of the living, occasionally. Alright, it'll spawn a skeleton every 3 days. Let's go ahead and pop that one down. Let's say, sure, we'll pop it down just ahead of those slimes. And let's get another meadow in play. Now, this is one of the first and easiest synergies you're going to get. A blooming meadow. Basically, if it has anything other than a meadow next to it, the flowers get a feel for the world and bloom with a pleasant smell. Heals 3 HP at the start of each day, so it basically increases the heal you're going to get by 50% from the meadow tile, just by having it next to a different type of building. Now that I've demonstrated that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to place down a vampire mansion down by there. Also, we got a bit, every time you get a bit of a synergy, you get a noticeable change. This is enough to turn a caterpillar into a butterfly, a seed into a sprout, or a drop of water into steam. Will turn itself into something else too, if you collect enough of it. 20 changes form a complete metamorphosis. So we need 20 of them to have something larger. We've got small pebbles, small stones that still remember how the world used to look. When you hold them, you're able to vaguely remember it for a few seconds too. 10 pieces of pebbles form 1 preserved rock, and rations. Obviously, we get the large food supply. Wow. That happened quickly. Very well, I approve. Pop down those, increase our maximum HP. Now we've got a spider cocoon. A silky bastion of 8-legged hunters spawns a spider on any adjacent tile once a day. Now the once a day part is a little bit worrying, but I'm going to be brave and I'm going to place it next to this vampire hut. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. Vampire mansion now. Got a little bit of stone from passing through the cemetery. Got a new ring. Evasion 9, we don't need really to do anything with that. Another vampire mansion, my lord! Vampires are prolific at the moment. And we've just completed our first loop. Now we can carry on going. The round level has increased. And I think we are going to, because we're at max health, there's no reason not to. We're doing decent damage, though. I would like to upgrade our tools now that we are going to be dealing with stronger enemies. That is a flat upgrade. Another cemetery. Let's not put it too close to the vampire mansion. We don't want it to make the battles too difficult for us. There we are. Got 2 new items. Neither one is particularly good. But if we look at the slime now, as you can see, is stronger. The spider is living, has a soul. These things matter because certain things will interact with them. As you saw, the vampire effect won't trigger on certain artificial constructs. Let's go ahead and place down 2 new meadows. Every time we place a bit of land and remember the shape of the world, the map completion meter starts to fill. When this bar is filled, the boss of this chapter will appear on the campfire tile. Now that will still afford you an opportunity to leave if you want to. So you can still leave at that point. You don't need to fight the boss, but the boss will appear here. Okay, let's do a chunky bit of damage. Okay, we've got some pebbles, rather rocks. Let's place these down. Getting a nice little bit of regeneration going now. I guess we could put a meadow over there, get a few more bits and bobs. We're actually not too far off getting our first ration, and we're well over halfway now to getting a preserved stone. Oh, what was it? A preserved rock. There we are. All right, let me have a look. Have we got anything particularly? I really don't think we do now, which is quite sad, honestly. Now we've got some more mountain tiles. Go ahead and place these down. And at this point, going to start building some meadow out along that side. We've already got our preserved rock, though, apparently untouched by the Lich's curse, and thus suitable for building, despite the shapelessness of the world. These resources, once they've completely become full, no longer they don't further build up into higher tier, or at least so far as I've seen. You'll notice that there's icons here, and this is something that's present in quite a lot of the game world. We are currently playing on double speed, by the way. I forgot to change it back down. We'll pop it back onto regular speed for a little bit. But we've basically got 12 partial resources or fragment resources and 1 true resource. And these little globes on the tiles, they offer you an indication of where you place them. A full globe means it has to be placed on the road itself. A half means that it has to be placed beside the road. There may be other conditions as well. For example, some things can only be placed next to a certain building on the road, so on and so forth. If it is completely empty, though, it can be placed anywhere. That is the case with meadows and mountains. Now, a grove, a gentle rustle of leaves, a crack of dry branch, and a feeling of being watched. Again, this will be spawning us some wolf rats, or rat wolves rather. Where do we want to place it? I think we'll pop it down by there. There we go. I'll have a little bit of a vampire battle over here. Now, you don't need to place these cards. And you're probably already noticing that my inventory is gradually filling up. And it will. It'll continue to fill up for a while until it's full. And what happens then is you start forgetting the oldest item in your inventory. It gets deleted to make room for new parts, and you'll get resources for it. And that's exactly the same with this as well. Now, we've got a treasury. Also got another rock. We're going to place the rock first because that's going to give us a nice big synergy. Pop. There you go. We just changed into a mountain peak. A stone giant could support the sky itself if it weren't already gone. Plus 120 max HP, plus 5 additional HP for every adjacent mountain rock tile, or rock tile, spawns a harpy every 2 days. We've got a treasury which we can place anywhere. The thick walls guard all kinds of riches from thieves and previous owners. Gives a random resource after placing anything on an adjacent tile. Can't be built adjacent to anything though, so we have to build it away from things. But as we put stuff around it, we'll get other resources. And finally, Oblivion. A bit of the Lich's magic. Causes anything to be totally forgotten. Erases an established tile, or erases monsters on the road. So this is kind of your nuke button, if something looks particularly rough for you. There we go, we've got a skeleton. And a little bit more resources there as well. There we go. That was actually quite a nice item there. Okay, now the colors on the items you probably already noticed. We've got grey. It just means it's got 1 attribute. Blue means it's got 2. Yellow means it's got 3. Or rather, grey just means it's got one kind of effect, like so defense or damage. It's its base statistics. So a weapon will always have damage. A piece of armor will typically always have a max HP, that sort of thing. Shield will always have defense. Blue means it's got that base stat and 1 additional attribute. Golden means it's got 2 additional attributes. Orange means it's got 3. I don't know if there's a color beyond there. So we would have a base stat of 9 defense, plus an additional 2 defense, plus 7% counter, plus 6% evasion. But we would lose our regen per second. Yeah, we're going to go with that. I think it's a good enough upgrade for us. Get a little bit of wood by going through there. Very nice. We have a bunch more rocks. Now, we can start building the rocks down here to start getting items from the treasury, but you noticed that this just showed up. Goblin count. The sounds of backstabbing can be heard from miles away. Wow. That's Goblinist. Spawns a goblin on any adjacent tile once a day. Appears for every 10 mountain or rock tiles. We're going to place another one. Pop. Get another resource there. I'm not sure if the resource is dependent on what you place nearby, but it might be. There we go. Now we've got a road lantern. A small spot of light in this grim world. Decreases the maximum number of monsters on adjacent tiles. The effect of lanterns can stack. Now, typically, the maximum amount of creatures is only the amount that exists on the road. For example, this vampire is going to add a vampire to any battle that's there. But the maximum I've ever seen on a tile without anything affecting it was 4. With that in mind, I totally don't want this getting out of hand. So I'm going to place this here. And that should make sure that the spiders don't get too crazy over there. We're also going to put the time back up to 2 so we can make some decent progress. We're at full health. There is no reason for us to go back. There we go. Now, word to the wise, it is worth, probably more so than anywhere else, to reduce the amount of goblins that can appear on a tile. Or rather, the amount of goblins and anything else that can appear on a tile. Because in many cases, the types of enemies can change depending on what enemies are there. We have now got a level 2 sword, though. I would lose the vampirism and attack speed and magic damage. Right now we're doing 6 to 8. This would be our upper damage would now be our minimal damage. But losing that vampirism, it's only 4%. It's not really doing us a lot of good right now. Yeah, we're going to switch to the gladius. Right, we've got a new grove. I think we're going to place this grove, as it happens, over there. Now, we place it on top of an enemy, and it doesn't do any damage. And also, we've got a Harpy moving out. Got a level 2 shield. That's not going to be able to compete with our level 3. Sometimes they can, but it's not going to compete. A grey one is not going to compete with an orange level 3. Ooh, level 3 armor. Thank goodness. Okay, max HP much higher, and damage to all. I approve. Now, let's place down a new mountain tile. We'll continue to surround us. Oh, we got something new this time. Scrap metal. Small piece of metal that survived the Lich's curse. Sometimes this is all that remains from armor or a sword that you haven't looked at for a while. And that is alluding to the fact that as this fills up, to make room for new items, it'll just drop old items off, and they will become scrap metal. And the same sort of thing will happen to cards, but it doesn't turn into metal. No. What do you mean, no? You want to save the world. You want to ask for our help. Our answer is no. How did you... But why no? We see far away. We see deep inside. For a long time there was just been emptiness inside instead of the sky. But it doesn't stop us from seeing. Your saving of the world is one-sided and naive. Each person sees their own way of saving the world. That's why no one will ever join you. Fine, I don't fully understand it, but tell me your version. What does to save the world mean to you? My progeny and my kin. For them to be strong and to live. It's a part of the cycle of life and death. It is life itself. It is the world. I will kill you and feed your remains to my starving younglings, and life will go on. And how many lives does your blade give birth to by killing again and again? Only one. I don't want you or your children to die from starvation. Please, try to see reason. If my mission succeeds, Harpies can have all the sky and all the hunting grounds they need. I can't feed my children with your beautiful words. It's time to say goodbye. Well, I mean, it's mostly time for you to die, but that's a bit sad. Oh, a new shield. I feel awful. By fixing one evil, I'm becoming a source of another. There's no home for Harpies except the highest mountains, but there's no food there. I can't imagine how they manage to survive in the mountains, if the mountains were cut off from reality. Indeed. We've got a shield. That's a nice amount of defense, but it really doesn't beat the level 3 orange that we've got right now. Level 2 ring, though. No, I like the evasion. The vampirism. Oh, that vampirism might actually sway me. I'd lose counter and evasion. And effectively, 11 defense. No. No, I have not been swayed. Stop! Damn it, we've got 2 goblins. I was trying to avoid this. Where did these goblins come from? Again, though, I love this art style. Where did these goblins come from? I don't remember remembering you. We remembered ourselves.
Now give us all you've got.
You have no idea what's going on, right? Why don't you help me restore order in this world first, and then you can do anything you want?
Goblin must rob. No other order in the world.
Fair enough. Guess I don't have any valid objection here. Oh, wait. I do have one. How about... Now, if we'd just gotten here when there was one goblin, this is all we would have fought. However, we're now fighting a goblin leader because there's more than one enemy here, and so the goblin has taken a leadership role. It has rage. Enrages after an ally dies, plus 30% damage. Now, which one am I attacking first? Of course, I'm attacking the little one first. It's completely random which one you're going to attack. However, that did give us a decent shield there. It's strange how these creatures appeared here on their own. Maybe it means everything is actually not so bad, and that the world is trying to restore itself. Or that even the apocalypse isn't enough to get rid of some pests. So rude to goblins. Alright, defense 14, evasion 8. For only 3 extra defense? I don't think so. Hello, skeleton. The skeleton does a lot of damage. Sadly. Thankfully, we do quite a lot as well. Ooh, well, that was nice. We're starting to recycle our items now. But this armor, very nice. So that's a lot of health. And attack speed and vampirism. We'd lose the damage to wall, which is a shame, but what we gain is significantly better. I approve. Okay, another cemetery in the meadow. We'll pop this around the goblin camp, I think. And let's expand out this cemetery a little bit. I'm not sure if having lots of them in a sequence is going to make a difference. It might do, though. I wouldn't mind getting another beacon or a lamp at some point. And this is why you do want multiple... Oh, thank you very much for the beacon. This is why you do want lots of enemies. Enough that you can handle, though understand that if nothing changes and you don't improve your gear, the world will just continually get stronger. So eventually what you could handle will possibly not be as easy to handle moving forward. But in general, these are things you want to improve on. You do want to gradually get more and more enemies around so that you can get more gear. And just be careful of when you decide that enough's enough and then leave. We'd only get 4 there. We'd get 5 over here. Sure, we'll pop that there. We'll get another meadow as well. There we are. We are getting close to a noticeable change. Another harpy on the map. Okay, now this is actually becoming a bit of a bigger fight. We've got 2 preserved rock. That's actually pretty nice. There we go. Got another treasury. Okay, that's actually good timing. I will show you why in just a moment. There we go. Clunk. Alright, we want to go into planning mode now. This treasury can be put here, which means this meadow I put between them is now affecting both of them, which I'm very, very, very happy with. A grove perhaps down here? Maybe. Not sure on that one. I can have a mountain there though. And it does look like... oh no, that one gave me food this time. So it may actually straight up be random. But okay, we've got a food supply. Now, I'm going to place down the vampire's mansion. I wasn't going to place one over here because I want to kind of spread them out so I've not got too many strong fights close together. But now we have almost fully surrounded it. This will allow me to complete that. And with that, boom. There we go. We have now turned this into an empty treasury. A treasury without treasure, an empty shell, a sorry sight, especially for its stone guardians that have slept through their eternal watch. Spawns a gargoyle every 3 turns. That was a big win for us. We've now got 3 preserved rock, 1 food supply, and 1 stable metal, no less. Also, quite a lot of good things. We've got a new shield. It's the same tier, same quality and same level, rather. Attack speed counter 7, attack speed of 8%, magic damage. No, I would say that's worse, generally speaking. The ritual sword, though, that is straight up better. So yes, we'll definitely take that. Definitely take that. Okay, we've now got another rock, so I can go ahead and happily place this here and further expand this one out. We've got a battlefield and another grove. Now the battlefield, it smells of blood and steel. It spawns a chest at the start of each loop. Enemies on adjacent tiles can become ghosts. Now this can become actually hilarious. I'm going to place it here. I could put it there, but I'm going to place it here so it affects all of these tiles. It spawns a chest, and that chest can appear on any of the tiles around it, but all of these tiles around it now have a chance that the enemy becomes a ghost when it dies, which means another fight, but it can actually be beneficial for us in the long run. Let's go ahead and pop down a grove over there, just to guarantee that we do have a fight that we can use that for that vampire's mansion. Because if you don't have anything there, it's only slimes, and that's completely random. But there we are. Treasure chest has been spawned. Okay, we're starting to not be able to reach our max health anymore. I think we've got one more loop in us, though. Let's see how this goes. A harpy and a spider. We're going for the harpy first. That's actually not too bad, because the harpy is the more dangerous of the two. So eliminating that one first is generally a good move. Got another rock. Let's place this down. There we are. Now we've got armor. Vampirism 13. I mean, it's just flat worse. The vampirism is equal, but it's otherwise just worse. 2 spiders and a vampire at this point. 23 damage, 12 damage. We're now on level 4 for this run. So this may be the last loop that we do before we duck back. It'll depend a little bit on the gear that we get, but we'll see. Got a ring at level 2. In fact, we've got 2 rings at level 2 now, but neither one is really that good. Ritual sword, is this better? No, it's straight up worse. I mean, that being said, actually it's exactly equal. It's exactly equal. The magic damage and regular damage, they've just been swapped around a little bit, that's all. Sure, I'll place down a grove right outside the camp. It's a generally safe place because we're going to be at full health for that. There we go. We're getting a little bit back here and there. Now, if I were to place a battlefield down here, one of the nice side effects of that is that we would have a chest spawn immediately when we reach the camp, and it would just be in front of it. Now, the chests tend to have some very nice loot in them. We'll go ahead and place that down. Also, this battle that we've guaranteed, and also any spiders that move on this side, are now going to have the chance of becoming ghosts. And that, I know it doesn't sound like it's going to be a good thing. It is, actually. Constant regen at this point is now looking more attractive, but losing 9% of our evasion. We are dodging a lot of damage. It would take us 7 seconds to make up for one missed evade. One evade that didn't trigger on the current enemies, but I'm actually going to go for it. There we go. Oh, there we go. We've got stable wood now. Another rock can go down. Let's pop that there. And a spider cocoon. Spawns a spider on an adjacent tile once a day. I think we're going to place the spider cocoon. Oh, we're going to start stacking this place kind of nastily. But, alright. I'll place it there. We'll hold out hope that we can get a lantern to go in there. But that has brought us a little bit closer to being able to get that treasure vault. Now, this is nasty. This is very nasty. I'm not attacking the goblin leader nearly fast enough. Oh no, am I going for the goblin leader? Oh, I am. Fantastic. Okay. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to see because of the counters. Right. Let's stall it there. We've got an orb of expansion, a physical manifestation of expanding space in the form of a little sphere. How did we get that? What did that come from? Oh, perhaps it's because we've placed down enough in the world? Something like that. But this dirk has really got my attention. 11 to 17 damage. It's a little bit less than we've got right now. Plus the magic damage is a lot less. But it adds vampirism, evasion, and attack speed. That'll bring our evasion back up. That worked out very nicely. It's not quite to where it was before, but it's doing a good job of getting there. We really can't afford to not get those evasions. Oh my lord, it hurts. But our regen per second is ticking even in combat. Having these nicer long gaps now also gives us an opportunity for our health to go up. Shield, magic defense, magic damage, defense. I mean, we'd lose counter and evasion, so no. Okay, let's see how this one goes. I'm not sure if we're going to get through this one. Thankfully, we do get 27 HP per day, but I don't think we're going to be doing an extra run. Oh, that being said, we just picked up some nice gear. Counter plus 20%. I would give us a better than 1 in 4 chance of counterattacking. What counter means is that when someone attacks us, we simply counterattack in addition to our normal attacks. So it just gives us extra attacks. When you've got vampirism, that becomes important. We're leeching 1/5 of the damage that we're doing right now. We'd lose the vampirism. That would be bad. The counter would be lovely, but losing the vampirism would be bad. Losing the regen would also potentially be bad, but we're actually going to pop that in. We're going to hope that the counter plus vampirism is going to benefit us here. Though we haven't counted once yet. Oh well. Now, we did miss the fight with the gargoyle, which is kind of fortuitous. They hit hard. This defense is really nice. Damage to wall is okay, but we'd lose evasion and counter, and right now we're kind of relying on those. This part, we've built a real gauntlet down here. I got lured in by my want to complete this treasure vault. And I may pay for that. Our counters are actually going off here and there. Ooh. That would take our vampirism up to 32%. It's getting into very nice territory now. But I think... Counter is giving us more vampirism. More potential vampirism than anything else, so... But this is getting really close. So down to the wire. Oh no, what an awful time for a ghost to proc. My goodness. Alright, so we've got a couple of new things here. Let's go ahead and place down these meadows. We desperately need them now. Place them down. And also we're going to build out the rocks a little bit. There we are. We've got another goblin camp. Yeah, we're not going to do another loop, I don't think. We might not even get through this one. We've got one spider, a treasure chest, and a slime to get past. Max HP would go up, damage to wall, but we'd lose the vampirism. So no. I think it's best not to. Oh, really? What awful timing. And I completely forgot that the vampire would show up to fight along with the treasure chest as well. Kind of annoying. But we are currently holding our own. Oh, no. No, we are. And at this point, we can actually heal off the treasure chest. Wow. Okay, we got another orb of expansion. That was shockingly good. Let's increase our max health some more. Also add another meadow, but I'm not sure we're getting out of this one. I'm really not. Place this down just because we can. We've got to fight 2 spiders now. Have we got gear that can be able to give us this win? We've got 30 health. And right now the spiders are hitting for like 26. We can leave and take 60% of all of our materials with us, and we've got a lot. Let's have a look. Dodge 14 to 22. Vampirism of 6. We'd lose a little bit of vampirism. We'd also lose our evade. Counter would increase, but our vampirism would drop sillily low. I think the only play here is to not be silly. If it was one spider, I might actually try it, but no. With only in the battlefield and go back to your cozy camp has passed through your mind. We'll keep 60% of our resources. That's actually still a lot of good resources there. We will lose a fair bit, but it's better to lose 40% than 70%. So we're going to retreat. There we go. And what's this? I can't believe it. Hey everybody, the boy has managed to return. Survivors? Does this mean I'm not alone anymore? Where did you come from? Is there still a place without darkness? We don't know where we came from, or we can't remember. These people you see are only a small part of what's left of the group, I think. You're not sure? We're not sure. We reached that conclusion because of the abandoned luggage and leftover daily rations. With each day, new signs of presence of people that, as far as everyone here knows, have never even been with us. It's like we forgot them. You forgot. Exactly. It's like people disappear every day and we instantly forget they even existed, almost as if we forgot the place we came from, and our families, and maybe even ourselves. My name is Yota. That's the part I still remember. Nobody else's memories is in much better shape. That's why I remember so little about myself. Everything is forgotten. But wait, you said that I'd managed to return. That means you remembered I was here. Yes, that's why it's so important to us. We saw you leave, but you were gone before we could approach you. Listen, we can't wander around in this emptiness anymore. There's a campfire and a few sleeping bags here. A real luxury in these dark times. What do you say? Oh, of course. I'd be very grateful if we could team up. I want to restore everything. I've begun to remember the world as it was before. But there's no point to it without other people. It's too lonely without them. Remembering the world? I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm too exhausted. But we'd be glad if you could help us, and we'd be glad to help you. Just don't ask us to go with you. I don't know how you managed to return, but for us, leaving the group is too dangerous. I will ask no such thing of you. For now, I just want to have a place to return to. A place where I can hear other people's voices. And there we are. Our camp is beginning to expand. We weren't joking about helping you. There are a few things that survive the cataclysm and don't vanish away. Here are a few things, rather. Can't be forgotten. Take them. You might need them. So we got some wood, some stone, and some food rations. Very, very nice. We can check in statistics now. Game time, how long we've been playing on the save file. The retreats to camp, expedition started, max number of loops in a single expedition. Loops completed, the amount of kills and what we've killed. Killed by, I haven't been killed yet. Amazing. Land cards are laid out, 59. Tiles placed, 75. Cemeteries, groves, spider cocoons, vampire mansions, battlefields, road lanterns, goblin camps, rocks, mountains, mountain peaks, meadows, blooming meadows, forests, treasures, empty treasures, and beacons. Resources acquired, 23. Resources lost, 15. I can't win them all, I suppose. But now, with these materials, we can start expanding out. We can go with a field kitchen. That's going to make our camp more restorative every time we complete a loop. So this is a big one to go for. Does it need to be built next to the camp? I guess. We'll place it here then. Do you know the difference between a good cook and a bad cook? The food made by a good cook is tastier. What? You were waiting for something more elaborate? Sometimes the truth is very simple. Look, I have a cauldron, a hearth, a couple of knives, a bucket of potatoes, 3 onions, and some ham. Nothing special. Everything is very simple. But give me a few minutes and everyone in this camp will be running to my table, following the tasty smell of good stew. Fair enough. Now at this point, we can start looking at the levels up in the corner. Now, the ones with the icons there can be leveled up. Available supply slots for tools, max equipment items. Okay, very interesting. We can also look at the cost to upgrade. Camp's item slots would be increased by this much, whatever that might be. We need, I believe this is the expansion, orb of expansion. We need 5 rations, 4 stable stones, and 8 pieces of lumber. But it'll increase the campfire's healing power by another 8%, which is actually quite important. But even more important than that, we can now see what that leads to. It leads to the gymnasium and the refuge. Now, the refuge unlocks a new class rogue. Oh, well, in that case, then, I'd probably say the farm is the better one to go for over the rogue. The rogue is going to be a nice class, and that's about as far as I've actually managed to play through in my 6 hours of yeah, I just played for a few hours. But I managed to unlock the rogue and these 2 items as well. But I'd probably say the farm is the better one. In these dire times, it's your duty to offer help to the needy. Can only be built next to a field kitchen. The refuge unlocks the class rogue. The gymnasium, a place where you'll learn how to read, write, and be polite to your teacher. Physical training takes priority. Unlocks the ability to gain special traits after killing monsters in expeditions. Unlocks the village card, actually. The farm builds on this. Without the farm card that you can get from this, can't be placed until you got the village card. That's actually a good point. So we would need another 5 metal orbs and another 4 pieces of lumber to get that stable wood. Certainly something that we can aim for, but I'm afraid that's going to be where this episode, and indeed this first taste, wraps up. I really do hope you've enjoyed having a glimpse into Loop Hero, and if you'd like to see more, do let me know by leaving a like and a comment on the video down below. And just to whet your appetite, expeditions get more interesting from this point on. Now there are potential new classes. Different classes will have a different subset of equipables. The warrior here, you notice I could only equip a sword, a ring, a shield, and some armor. A rogue, for example, will have 2 weapons, a ring, and boots. Or actually, might not even have the ring. We'll just have armor and boots and 2 weapons instead. But these aren't available to it. Different classes will have different items they can equip. Additionally, these are the stats over here. So Chapter 1, enemies have 0 to 1 abilities. Enemy strength is minus 5%. Enemy strength grows by 2% per loop. Max amount of resources, 10. Class Warrior, a class that doesn't have any particular benefits or disadvantages, has the highest durability compared to other classes and plus 2% damage for each second of a fight. So the longer the fight lasts, the stronger the warrior gets. But this is a really important part to pay attention to. These are the stats that can appear on equipment for your character. Vampirism, for example, isn't a stat, or regeneration. They're not stats for the rogue. So the rogue can never have equipment that gives these stats. The rogue starts with 5% vampirism, but that's all it can ever have. The equipment will never give vampirism as a stat. Instead, it'll have like crit chance and things like that. And I thought that was really, really interesting. I didn't notice that the first time I switched to the rogue, and then I was confused why I didn't have items. I didn't quite understand how to pass this information, but I think that's a really, really cool mechanic. And furthermore, you've got the deck, and these are all of the cards that we have. You have to have 7 cards, and you can't have more than 12. And over here you have the minimum is 2 cards. If I were to take the cemetery away, this is no longer a valid deck. I have to have 2 cards, and currently the maximum I can have is 2. Over here, though, I can have 5, and the minimum is 2. Over here, 2 and 2. Over here, 3, and the minimum is 1. You can tailor your deck. You can make it more favorable with cards that improve your odds, or cards that give you more enemies if you want more, if for some reason your strategy is built around getting as many fights in as you can. And also you can tailor certain synergies that you want to be available in the world. And this is a really, really important mechanic. For example, if we wanted the treasure vault, we didn't find the beacon particularly useful though, and we didn't want it clogging up our potential hand, we could take that away. We could take away Oblivion, take away these cards as well. We could take away the well, we can't take away the cemetery, we have to keep that one there. But we can drop this down to 2, so for example, I could take away, well, since we've got the Grove, if I take away the Grove, we actually need it for the Blood Grove to matter. But I could take that away if I didn't want it. And now, the only cards that I could possibly have in my deck would be here. But that is going to be it for now. If that is interested in seeing more of this on the channel, then I may record some more videos, and perhaps we'll do a run each video. And if there's interest in seeing it streamed, then I may go ahead and stream a little bit of this, and the VODs will go up on Aavak After Hours. But that is going to be it from me. So thank you once again to Devolver Digital for affording me the opportunity to check out the game, and thank you very much for the like on the video and comments if you've left any. And I hope to see you in the next. But until then, and as always, do take care, everyone.